3. We won! Yes!
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
I'll hold on to that.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Welcome to Stegman Coliseum in Athens, Georgia. SEC Network Women's Basketball. Tonight, the regular season opener, the start of a new coaching era for both of these teams as the Georgia Lady Bulldogs welcome the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers to town. And good evening. Welcome to another season. I'm Matt Stewart, joined by former Georgia Lady Bulldogs standout Anne-Marie Armstrong. We're excited to have you on board. And the start of a new coaching era for Georgia, just the third head coach in Georgia history, as Katie Abrahamson Henderson, known as Coach Abe, comes back where she played for Andy Landers to take over this program.
Super excited to have Coach Abe here, coming from UCF. Really had some great defense. She's had some great experience with 14 postseason bids as well as 16 conference championships. Really excited to see what the Bulldogs do here today.
Coach Abe has won everywhere she has been. She's averaged 22 wins per season during her career. Starting her 18th season as the Lady Bulldogs head coach, and comes back to play and coach here at Georgia, where she started her career back in the 1980s on some of Georgia's most fantastic teams and Final Four teams. And the roster is brand new. 10 players come to the program this year, 5 of them from the transfer portal, Anne-Marie, led by Diamond Battles.
Wow, Diamond Battles had a great year. She was 2021 American Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. What you're going to see from her, she's going to be a big leader this year for the Georgia Bulldogs. She has high energy. Next, we have Brittany Smith coming in from UCF. She was the 2021 American Sixth Player of the Year, shooting 53% from the field goal, as well as developing her outside game. You'll see a lot of athleticism from her on the court. And lastly, we have Audrey Warren from Texas. Competed in 2 Elite Eights the last 2 seasons. She's very versatile, playing the 3 and the 4. This is a high IQ player that will excel here at Georgia.
And I think one of the big keys, Anne-Marie, will be how do you bring together all these parts? They have been practicing together for the last 6 months, but this will be the first chance to see them on the floor against an opponent.
That's right. You know, a lot of newcomers putting a lot of new pieces together. 5 returners from Georgia who are learning a completely new offense and defensive style with Coach Abe. Really excited to see these puzzle pieces start getting put together. And
a brand new head coach for Coastal Carolina as well. Coach Pedersen comes in. Coach Kevin Pedersen, after great success at Division II Lander. But like he said, it's a different perspective. Coach Abe takes over a Georgia program that won 21 games a year ago. He takes over a program that's rebuilding.
Right.
So ready to go. How about this? Georgia comes out in the black tonight, wearing the black uniforms to start the season. And that is the aforementioned Diamond Battles running the point. And we have a whistle and a foul on Coastal Carolina away from the basketball to get this thing started. The big news for Coastal is their star of a year ago, their 3-time All-Sun bout, Asia Blount, has been ruled eligible to play. She transferred to Tulane, decided to come back, and she has been cleared to play for this opener tonight. Inside, Javin Nicholson with the bucket. And here's a look at the starting 5 for the Chanticleers: Delarue, Newsom, Just Jean, Adams, and Blunt. Blunt averaged close to 20 points per game for Coastal a year ago, including a 41-point performance in the Sun Belt tournament against Arkansas State. Inside they go to Nicholson in traffic, and Javin Nicholson puts it in.
Great high-low from B. Great pass from Brittany Smith into Javin on that high-low there.
Georgia runs a trap up top. They go to Blunt. Asia Blunt puts it on the floor. Nicholson stops her progress. And the drive by Delarue, who banks it in. Got the bounce off the rim. Here's a look at the starting five for Georgia. Chapman, returning starter, Battles, Warren, Smith, and Nicholson. And Chapman, a part-time returning starter. And Smith, close range, puts it in. Brittany Smith, another transfer from UCF. Sixth player of the year last season in the American Conference.
Georgia scoring on back-to-back high-lows from the posts.
Georgia applying a lot of pressure, picking it up at half court. Baseline runner goes off the hands of Adams and out of bounds. So is this what you expected for Georgia coming out of the gate, this high-pressure defense?
I mean, I think so. I did some research, watching Coach Abe play, and the intensity. They play this half-court zone where they're looking to trap as soon as you get over the half and then back down into a zone that's not generally what you see. There's a lot of different elements to that.
Brittany Smith misses her second attempt. That's Warren underneath, and she gets fouled on the play. Audrey Warren, you mentioned her off the top, Anne-Marie. Nice pickup for the Lady Bulldogs. She jumped into the transfer portal after helping the Longhorns to back-to-back NCAA Elite Eights.
Great player. Like I said, Coach Abe is really excited about her versatility. She's a high IQ, being her fifth year. Really excited to have someone in Georgia basketball that has this experience.
Warren averaged 8.2 points, 4.3 rebounds per game, and led the Longhorns with an 80% free throw percentage last year. She gives Georgia a 5-point lead. Georgia, of course, 9-7 in the SEC a year ago, got to the second round of the NCAA tournament after beating Dayton 70-54, lost to Iowa State on the Cyclones' home floor 67-44. Aaron Freeman, number 4 right there, is the top returning player until the news about Blunt today. Drive by Delarue, and the rebound, whistle, and let's see what the call is going to be. Looks like a foul is going to be called on Georgia.
Delarue's doing a good job of getting in those gaps on that zone, penetrate and get to the rim.
Warren was called for the foul, so her first personal. Inbounds comes to Blunt. She's in a double team. Tried to force it up there, and Delarue comes away with it. Blunt drives, left-handed pass with 3 on the shot clock, and the put in by Adams. 8-4 Georgia. Battles takes the 3 off back iron. Nicholson the long rebound. Inside they go, and Smith and one. Brittany Smith has been a big focal point of the offense here in the first quarter.
Great catch, great finish. Again, the high-low game right now with 35. Nicholson as well as Smith really doing a great job of feeding each other.
Played at Boone High School in Orlando before signing on with Coach Abe at UCF. Newcomer of the year, 6th player of the year, I should say, last season. Second leading scorer for the Knights. Georgia has 3 in the backcourt here as they apply pressure. The drive and dribble out of bounds off the leg of Barney. I'm not sure whether Georgia's defense is intended to force a turnover on every play, but it certainly has speeded up the Coastal Carolina offense.
A lot of ball pressure. A lot of scrambling, too.
So Coach Pedersen is going to call a timeout right here. Or maybe not. His players all went over there. I thought he'd called a timeout. So Chloe Chapman wearing the face mask in the game brings the ball up. So Isha Smith now in the game as well. Chapman now a senior. 8 on the shot clock. Brittany Smith, another bucket. She's living with that mid-range game right now. 9-point lead for Georgia. Lively crowd here for the season opener. It's a doubleheader. The Georgia men host Western Carolina later on tonight. Good high-low backdoor pass. And that's Ariel Balinga. Georgia kid out of Riverdale, Georgia. Sandy Creek High School with the basket. Nicholson could not control the pass from up top. Goes out of bounds. Mallory Bates will check in for Georgia. Nicholson will come out. So Coach Abe using a lot of players here in the first quarter. Freeman didn't get the bucket the fall. She'll go to the line for 2 shots. Emery, it looks like the Chanticleers have been very aggressive in their dribble drive here in the first quarter. So a timeout on the floor. Georgia with a 13-6 lead, 5 minutes into the game.
It took a while to get up here. We started out around 1959. Then we took a hard left in East Africa. A right at Baja. A 180 in the empty quarter. And that 65-degree incline at Hell's Revenge. But we didn't do all that just to get here. We did it to give you a truck that'll take you anywhere. This is the new Nissan.
Station was about not necessarily tonight, but about the long-range picture and building this program for future success.
Right, you know, he mentioned the new era, new beginnings, similar to Georgia. Really looking to establish the tone and his expectations early on here with the new team.
Well, they certainly got great news today when Asia Blunt was cleared to play. Replaces the loss of Michaela Kanje, who may not be able to play this year, but she is still recovering from an injury. But the addition of Blunt certainly is good news for a Coastal team that was picked to finish 12th out of the 14-team Sun Belt Conference. And there's Asia Blunt. Her numbers from a year ago, 19.7 points per game, 47% from the floor, which was 3rd best in the Sun Belt. Her points per game, 2nd best in the Sun Belt. Her rebounds per game at 9.5, 3rd best in the Sun Belt. And she's a 2-time first-team All-Sun Belt, 3-time All-Sun Belt honors.
And this is someone who can score at all levels. I mean, rewatching some of her games, shoots from the 3, has a jumper in. I mean, and she can finish with left and right hand in the post.
1,441 career points, 7th in Coastal history, as Freeman at the line as we return to action. Freeman, sophomore guard out of Little Rock, Arkansas, North Little Rock, averaged 9 points, 4.3 rebounds per game a year ago. She hits the 2nd of the 2 free throw attempts, and it's 13-7. So they're going to throw a little full court pressure at Georgia. Chapman breaks it as she crosses the half court line. Zoisha Smith had it slip out of her hands, and last touch by Georgia. Chanticleers have 6 players returning from last season's team, and you can make that 7 now, including Blunt. But they too had to get into the transfer portal. Zoisha Smith bats the ball away, a scramble for it, and a foul is going to be called on Coastal.
Really using her length there at the top of the press. Zoisha able to get her hand on the ball and cause a turnover.
Just imagine at 6'1", you can see the length of Zoisha Smith. Just something that the Coastal Carolina Chanticleer players are not accustomed to seeing in their conference.
And an athlete. She can jump and she's long.
Junior out of Brunswick, Georgia, Glen Academy High School. Georgia's got it, and a 6-point lead. Another foul is going to be called on Coastal. Delarue is going to be called for the foul. That's going to be the 4th team foul on Coastal. Angie Just Jean will check in for the Chanticleers, and Delarue will go to the bench. Inbounds, stolen by Freeman. And it comes to Barney, and a 3-pointer off back iron. And last touch by Georgia.
Georgia in a zone.
Freeman got to the other side of the rim and shot it backwards, kind of looking over her shoulder, and it's a 4-point game. 13-9, Georgia on top. I think what's interesting, Anne-Marie, about tonight for Georgia is this is not your typical season opener, because for just the 3rd time in the modern era of Georgia women's basketball, you got a brand new head coach. So kind of question marks and some mysteries to be unraveled here as we watch this Georgia team for the first time.
For sure. In the student section, I'm not sure I've seen a season opener this crowded with so many students. Really excited for women's basketball as well as Coastal to come in and play in a fun environment.
Great crowd here, especially in the student section, as Jordan Isaacs is at the line, one of the 5 returning players for Georgia. Isaacs, now a senior, start at St. Francis in Alpharetta. Only 2.8 points, 3.1 rebounds per game, but has always kind of been that glue player in the Georgia program. Had 51 consecutive starts up until mid-last season. 5-point lead for Georgia, under 4 to play here in the first quarter. Turnover, Coastal.
Great awareness there by Jordan Isaacs, being ready for that skip pass.
Yeah, Isaacs' aggressiveness led to the 4th turnover of the game for the Chanticleers. Warren driving. 10 on the shot clock. And that's the coach's daughter, Savannah Henderson, the first freshman in the game for Georgia tonight. How about popping a 6'3" guard out there? Look at the tremendous wingspan and length for Savannah Henderson.
Nice shot as well. Excited to see what she does as a freshman.
Yeah, ESPN had her ranked as the number 10 wing player in the country when she signed with UCF out of Timber Creek High School, the all-time leading scorer there, and then followed her mother here to play for the Georgia Lady Bulldogs. There's a look at Savannah Henderson, 4-star prospect, McDonald's All-American nominee. See a lot of upside in her game as she is just now starting her Georgia career. Javin Nicholson at the line for the Lady Bulldogs. Just a 57% free throw shooter a year ago. Averaged 4.5 points, 4 rebounds per game, and had 6 starts. Gets one of the two and a 6-point lead for Georgia. Long three-point attempt and nothing but net for Anaya Barney. Transfer from Northern Iowa, one of the newcomers for the Chanticleers. Nicholson misses. Henderson saves it. 2 minutes to play in the quarter. Georgia up by 3. And the foul is going to be called on Coastal away from the ball. I think that's 5. And that should put Georgia in the bonus. Actually, it's 7, so Georgia's definitely in the bonus as Henderson steps up to the line. Georgia 5 for 7 already at the line in this game as Henderson has one roll off the rim. If there's any nervousness in her, you can't see it in her face, can you?
Nope. Game face on. Yeah. Straight face.
And playing like she belongs as a freshman. 4-point lead for Georgia. And stolen by Henderson, couldn't keep it. Belinga the miss and the rebound by Nicholson. Warren had it knocked away for a moment and out of bounds off of Coastal. Been impressed with the energy that we've seen from Coastal, too. They have not played a Power 5 conference team the last couple of years, opening here against Georgia tonight.
Coastal definitely came today ready to play.
Battles up and in, and one. Blocking foul on Coastal. Right there, Anne-Marie, you saw the explosiveness of Diamond Battles. She really accelerated into that defensive gap. And Delarue got caught trying to slip in there and get position.
Great finish through contact.
Battles, reputation preceded her, preseason second team All-SEC. Completes the three-point play. 7-point lead for Georgia. Under 90 seconds to play in the opening quarter. Freeman launches a 3 off the back iron. Warren the rebound. And Battle gets fouled in the backcourt by Blunt. That'll be number 1 on her. Really kind of a silly, over-aggressive foul right there. So Battles back at the line. American Athletic Conference Player of the Year a year ago. Another free throw make for Battles. She was also Defensive Player of the Year and the Athletic Conference Tournament MVP. Averaged a team-leading 13.9 points per game, 3.5 assists per game. Bad luck on that one. Nicholson keeps it alive And jump ball's going to be called as she got tied up from behind. Possession arrow belongs to Coastal.
Great job by Nicholson putting in work on that free throw, getting that offensive board. Couldn't finish it though.
Georgia up by 8, 20-point first quarter. Backdoor they go. Barney forces it up and in. Nice shot by Anaya Barney, not to be intimidated by the defense. Brittany Smith turnaround, miss, got her own rebound, going to be called for the foul coming over the back. Barney did a good job there, I thought, Anne-Marie, not being intimidated, even though she was certainly oversized down there.
She did a great job figuring out where the defense was, gathered herself, and was still able to get it up and over the defenders.
30 seconds to play in the quarter. Belinga banging bodies as she walks the baseline. 10 in the quarter. 10 on the shot clock. Foul's going to be called on Georgia on the floor.
Georgia's doing a great job in the zone, getting there on the catch, on those skip passes, and being ready with the closeout.
So what do you think the coach's assessment, Coach Pedersen, Coach Abe's assessment of this first quarter for their two teams?
I mean, they're playing really similar. A lot of pressure on the ball, good execution on the offensive ends. But right now, you know, matching up pretty well.
Yeah, I would think both coaches are fairly pleased with their first 10 minutes of work. Clock down to 1, and beats the horn with the floater. Nice shot running the baseline by Barney, and a strong finish to the quarter by Coastal Carolina. Lady Bulldogs, 20-16 lead after 1 quarter of play. Coastal Carolina hanging in against Georgia here, opening night for both of these coaches.
Took a while to get up here. We started out around 1959. Then we took a hard left in East Africa. A right at Baja. A 180 in the empty quarter. And that 65-degree incline at Hell's Revenge. But we didn't do all that just to get here. We did it to give you a truck that'll take you anywhere. This is the new Nissan.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our trouble will be out of sight.
Unlike the other guys, T-Mobile has Price Lock. Switch now and we won't raise the price of your talk, text, and data.
20-16 lead for Georgia after 1 quarter of play. Coastal Carolina shot 54% from the floor in the first quarter, Anne-Marie. Georgia shot 50.
You're getting a lot of good looks inside. Georgia's getting the high-lows for the post, and then you have Coastal Carolina's getting some three-pointers and really getting the gaps on those zone to get a few layups in there.
Coastal 1 for 3 on their three-point attempts. Georgia 0 for 2 on their three-point attempts. And rebounding-wise, Coastal hanging with Georgia, 8-6 advantage for the Lady Bulldogs through the first quarter of play. Georgia's leading scorer, Javin Nicholson, with 5 of Georgia's 20 points. Anything about that first quarter that surprised you?
I wasn't too surprised by much, to be honest, just, you know, doing my research on the teams, but, you know, I think
To everyone this holiday season, give love. Give style. Find joy for everyone on your list with Macy's Gift Finder.
It took a while to get up here. We started out around 1959. Then we took a hard left in East Africa. A right at Baja. A 180 in the empty quarter. And that 65-degree incline at Hell's Revenge. But we didn't do all that just to get here. We did it to give you a truck that'll take you anywhere. This is the new Nissan.
Coastal came out and showed, not only are they building, but they're here to fight, and that's something that, Coach Pedersen had harped on. They're working to build, they're setting expectations, and they're all putting in the team effort together and putting in the work and practices.
Georgia starts on offense to begin the second quarter. Nicholson gets the offensive rebound and spins it up and in. 7 points, 5 rebounds already for Javin in this game.
Bringing great energy. Used her power bouncer and got collected.
3-point attempt is off the mark by Richardson. Long outlet for Warren is too long. And I think that's always kind of been the story with Javin Nicholson. It wasn't the offensive questions, it was the defensive questions. We've always seen her as a very proficient scorer and ability to put the ball up and in the hole and get rebounds. So that'll be the question, but she definitely, in fact, I would say this for the entire Georgia Lady Bulldog team, not that they weren't in shape, but they look like they're well conditioned to start the season. Rebound by Mallory Bates, coming back for a 6th year this season. Warren launches the three and off the mark. Georgia still 0 for on their 3-point attempts in this game. Blunt double team. And Barney misses the 3-point attempt. Bates the rebound. Battles. Warren will take another 3-point attempt and miss. Rebound, Chloe Chapman gets tied up by Blunt, and the jump ball arrow in favor of Coastal. Chloe Chapman started her career as a soccer star here at Georgia, all SEC freshman, then transitioned to basketball only last year. Ricarte in the ball game, gives it up, and the jumper 3-point attempt missed. Freeman grabs the offensive rebound. When we talked to Coach Pedersen earlier today, he was unsure what his starting 5 was going to be. He had not been happy with the first teamers in practice a couple of days ago and said, okay, we're going to play a 5-minute game, and whoever wins, you're the starters. Second team beat out the first team.
That'll get you motivated one way or another. I've been on the end of that. When it's not going well and coaches get frustrated and you see, even other 5 or even 7 players working hard as the second team, sometimes they deserve that opportunity.
Sends the message, and I think the message was sent and taken by his team. They played well here to start this game, down 6, 12 minutes in. Richardson, 3-pointer rimmed out. Ball is kept alive by Georgian. Zoisha Smith gets the rebound. Outlet comes to Battles. She pushes the tempo, and it rims out on her. Underneath, Smith. Underneath, Bates. Georgia got 2 offensive rebounds on that play and finally got the bucket. They lead by 8. Bates forces the turnover, and a foul is going to be called. So Georgia very active underneath, Anne-Marie.
Great job by Zoisha just pursuing the ball there, runs down the court, gets another offensive rebound, doesn't get the bucket, but has another teammate stick with it for a second offensive board and a score.
So Jordan Isaacs comes in for Georgia. Bates comes out. Bates with her first 4 minutes of the season. Georgia's played a lot of players. They've already played 9 in this game. And Coastal has played 10. Ricarte off the iron. Rebound, Blunt missed. Nicholson the rebound for Georgia. Asia Blunt might have rushed that one a little bit. She's 0 for 3. She's been practicing with the team, but not been working with the first team because up until the last 24 hours, they didn't even know if she was going to be able to play.
And not getting reps with the first team sometimes can put you a little disadvantage, not having the chemistry, returning players, new transfers. But she's doing a good job of being out there right now and getting up and down the court.
Freeman is called for the backcourt violation, the over and back. The funny thing is she jumped across the half-court line to get the pass. Had she just stayed on her feet, she would have been okay.
Right.
So a turnover. That's number 6 for Coastal, but Georgia's committed 6 turnovers as well. Battles goes to her left and draws the foul on Freeman.
Great dishonor, great read by Diamond off of that, coming off that screen. Saw the lane line open and went for it. Got a foul, 2 free throws.
So Battles back at the free throw line. She finished her UCF career number 8 in program history in free throws made. She's 2 for 3 so far tonight. And Georgia is 9 for 13. Georgia has taken 11 more free throw attempts than Coastal. Georgia up by 9. Georgia lead is 10. This is their biggest lead of the game. Three ball, rebound Blunt, puts it up and in. Asia Blunt, her first points of the game.
Great rebound, great use of her body to go up with contact and finish through.
Nicholson just outside the foul line. Backdoor rebound, Zoisha Smith sticks it up and in for her first points of the season.
Another offensive board by Zoisha, and she's able to convert it.
Georgia with 9 offensive rebounds. Blunt, scoop shot, fouled by Isaacs. As a defender, did you always hate the scoop shot?
It's hard. You get lured in, you want to put your arm down, and as soon as you do that, it's so easy to make it look like a foul.
The veteran Blunt right there using that scoop shot was able to get the foul called on Isaacs, and that'll put Asia Blunt at the line. Just the 3rd and 4th free throw attempts for Coastal so far in this game. Blunt, 3-time All-Sun Belt, first team the last 2 seasons, second team back in 2019 and 20. She actually, before Coach Pedersen got to Coastal, had already entered the transfer portal, went to Tulane. Things didn't work out there. Basketball-wise, things were great. There were some things off the court she wasn't happy about. Comes back, calls and says, I'd like to come back. And they got the good news today. Last 24 hours, she was going to be able to play.
And great news for Coastal to have a veteran returning with such experience.
Bates puts it on the floor, up and in. Mallory Bates. Jordan Isaacs. Jordan Isaacs with the bucket. Isaacs has 5.
Great find there by Chapman. Isaacs able to put it on the ground and finish strong with her left hand.
You know, we haven't seen a lot of that from Jordan Isaacs in her career. Swatted away by Isaacs. Freeman on the baseline. Rebound by Warren. And it comes to Chapman. Stuffed by Ricarte, gets it back. Warren will take the three and rim out. Isaacs gets the offensive rebound. Seven on the shot clock for Georgia. Warren will try the other side. Shuffled her feet. Traveling call on her. And a timeout on the floor. 4:44 to play in the first half, and Georgia on top by 10.
Take a picture. I'm stuck! Is that a new iPhone?
Yep, I just got the new iPhone 14 with its amazing camera at T-Mobile.
I don't know what to do!
Just switch to T-Mobile and you can get iPhone 14 with Apple TV Plus included. And so much more. I'm talking over $225 in benefits every month.
Wow!
At T-Mobile, get iPhone 14 on us with Apple TV Plus included. Part of over $225 in benefits every month on Max family plans.
Took a while to get up here. We started out around 1959. Then we took a hard left in East Africa. A right at Baja. A 180 in the empty quarter. And that 65-degree incline at Hell's Revenge. But we didn't do all that just to get here. We did it to give you a truck that'll take you anywhere. This is the new Nissan.
Here's a look at the SEC preseason coaches poll. And of course, South Carolina in the top spot. They're opening their season tonight against East Tennessee State. Georgia checks in at number 9. And, you know, I guess in defense of the coaches, their guess is as good as any. You really don't. How do you pick where Georgia's going to be when you got a new coach and you got 10 new players?
I mean, that's tough. It's tough to evaluate where a team's at with new coaching staff, a lot of new players, only 5 returners, transfers from different teams. So it'll be interesting to see where the Georgia Bulldogs end up this season.
And Joni Taylor, now the head coach at Texas A&M, her team picked to finish 11th. So we'll see how that all plays out. But Georgia, 10 newcomers, 5 grad transfers, 1 sophomore transfer, 5 freshmen to go along with 5 returning players. And Coach Abe told us that at least early on in the season, Georgia was going to rely heavily on those seniors, the senior transfers, and so far the only freshman we've seen play is her daughter.
Right, Savannah Henderson has gotten a few minutes at the freshman spot. She's the only freshman we've seen in thus far.
But the Lady Bulldogs have been led by Diamond Battles, has 6 points. Brittany Smith has 7 points, so that's 13 of the 30 have come from 2 of the grad transfers, and Javin Nicholson has 7 as well for the Lady Bulldogs. Warren, another one of those transfers from Texas, nearly came up with the steal right there, and Belinga is going to be called for the traveling call. Ari Belinga, Sandy Creek High School. Belinga has played 7 minutes tonight with a couple of points and a couple of rebounds. Chapman just outside the elbow, and the rebound is battled for and won by Coastal. Jump ball, and Georgia's got the possession arrow.
It's 11 offensive rebounds for Georgia in the first half.
Yeah, Georgia definitely using their size advantage on the offensive end. 20 on the shot clock as Georgia inbounds on the baseline. Chapman goes right by Belinga, saw the speed mismatch right there and took advantage of it.
A little hesitation. See ya.
12-point lead, Georgia. Freeman in a double team gets tied up. They call a jump ball. It's going to be Coastal's ball.
And that's what Georgia looks to do on this soft pressure zone. Get it across half court, try to get a jump ball, try to trap.
In that situation right there, Anne-Marie, where's the help supposed to come from Freeman?
It better come fast.
Yeah. She didn't have any outlet to go anywhere with it. Inside they go to Blunt. A great pass from the wing. Ricarte sticks it in. Miriam Ricarte out of Pamplona, Spain. Another one of the transfers for Coach Pedersen from his previous school, Lander. Nicholson underneath, double dribble.
And you almost see the same exact play on both ends there with the weak side post seal and the lob pass from the guard.
Georgia has committed 8 turnovers. Coastal has 7. Ricarte to the corner it goes. 6 on the shot clock, and stepping out of bounds, Jordan Newsom. Newsom out of Irving, Texas, MacArthur High School. Averaged 5.5 points per game last year. Warren, three-pointer, first one for her. Gets Georgia on the board in the three-point department as well. They're 1 for 6.
Nice find on the skip pass there in the zone.
Ricarte inside the three-point line, and foul on the floor going against Georgia. Jordan Isaacs called for the foul. That'll be number 2 on her. So Coastal will be in the bonus for the rest of the half, as that's the 5th team foul on Georgia. Newsom, team leading 88% free throw shooter last season. Had a 24-point game against Georgia Southern. It's a Coastal team that went 16-11 overall and 4-9 in the Sun Belt. Hits them both. Georgia's outscored Coastal 15-8 in the quarter.
Coastal in some full court pressure, looking to trap.
Nicholson attacks the basket, shot it over, got fouled. Freeman is going to be called for her 2nd personal. That'll be the 2nd team foul on Coastal in the quarter. Javin Nicholson at the line. Start at Collins Hill High School, about 45 minutes from here, or an hour and a half on a day like today with traffic. And Nicholson, troubles continue at the free throw line there. She's now 1 for 3. Georgia 10 for 15. Nicely done on the 2nd. Back to a 12-point lead for Georgia. Elena Delarue will check back in for the Chanticleers. She's out of France. Putnam Science Academy. Stolen by Battles. Good job by Delarue to kind of just position her out of a good shot. Three-point miss by Newsom. Coastal 1 for 10 on their threes.
Another rebound by Javin down there. She has 7 now, leading the Bulldogs.
Javin's got a great shot of a double-double, maybe before halftime. from the wing, and the three-point attempt by Barney, and saved by Coastal, and then falling out of bounds on the play, Richardson. So 1:18 to play in the first half. Georgia up 36-24. Coastal going man-to-man on defense. Inside, and foul's going to be called on Delarue.
Georgia running a post-to-post, block-to-block screen, and then looking for the high-low there. There's a double team there. Got to look weak side on that one. Get that to your open shooter in the corner.
So still not in the bonus. That's the third team foul on Coastal. So Georgia inbounds. Delarue has 3 personal fouls. They keep her on the floor at least for now. Under a minute to play in the quarter. Battles, works off the screen, scrapes off Delarue, and hits the jumper.
Beautiful read by Diamond coming off that screen right there for a one dribble pull-up. Perfect read.
Battles has a team leading, or tied for the team lead, 8 points now with Nicholson. Traveled. 10th turnover on the Chanticleers. And Georgia's going to get the last possession. 25.7 on the game clock, and the shot clock is off. Let's see, they're going to get Delarue out of there too. They were waiting for the opportunity. She had 3 personals, so they were rolling the dice a little bit right there. Braylee Simmons comes in. First time she's been in the ball game. Skip pass goes to Chapman, back to Battles. Battles at the elbow, drew the foul. Clutch, that's a pro move right there.
It's a great move.
That's her second, team's 4th. Diamond Battles will go to the line for the Dogs.
So Battles steps up to the line. 4 for 5 at the free throw line. Gives Georgia a 15-point lead. Here's another look at that shot by Battles.
Great read off the dribble, and she still almost makes it even with the contact. Goes the line for 2 free throws.
$16-point lead for Georgia.
Diamond Battles now has 10 points, leading the Bulldogs into the second half.
Yeah, 10 points in 18 minutes of work. Great debut for her so far. Barney the miss on the 3, and that is the end of the first half. Georgia 40-24 lead after 2 quarters of play.
What a fun game to start here in Athens. A lot of up and down defense. Got to see a lot of players on both ends contribute.
Georgia really shut down Coastal Carolina in that second quarter, held them to 2 of 16 shooting from the floor.
Took a while to get up here. We started out around 1959. Then we took a hard left in East Africa. A right at Baja. A 180 in the empty quarter. And that 65-degree incline at Hell's Revenge. But we didn't do all that just to get here. We did it to give you a truck that'll take you anywhere. This is the new Nissan.
Before we begin, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Liberty Mutual. They customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. And by switching, you could even save $652. Thank you, Liberty Mutual. Now, contestants ready? Go! Why? Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Legendary and quite remarkable and really amazing.
an amazing leader. She was a tremendous listener.
But Liz I remember mostly just because Liz was almost like a mom. Is when you needed her, she was there for you, and she really just let you alone and do what you needed to do.
Liz had the greatest gift and intuitive sense of bringing winners together.
You know, she was just so relaxed and so welcoming, but you could just see the passion that she had to, you know, get this program and get somebody that was going to really care about these student athletes. And so my first memory was just, you know, what a wonderful person she was.
She had an innate sense of who people were and what they could do. She was brilliant, and so she just had a sense of people.
Well, I think Liz wanted to have coaches that are skilled in their profession, but also coaches that represent the university in the highest possible manner, because she believed strongly in the University of Georgia.
Well, I think mainly she looked for good people. She wanted people who had, you know, ethical standards, people who cared for students, and it was not the win-at-all-costs mentality that she was after. She wanted people who, you know, loved the University of Georgia and would build a solid program.
And I've always admired this about her. It did not matter what gender that person was, the age of that person, and really the experience that that person had. If she felt like a coaching candidate had the ability, the potential to lead, mentor, groom student athletes, I think that's what she was looking for.
I think she knew how to judge people. It wasn't so much about our accolades. I mean, I was a club coach, but I think that she wanted me the same reason that she already had Andy and Jack, was just the passion for the sport. She had just a way of
have much about team building because everybody was in the trophy room at the Coliseum.
You know, information and a lot of recruiting tips, especially for someone that had never been a college coach before. Being in that office with Andy and Jack was definitely a true benefit to me.
The one thing I can tell you that was impressive was everybody in there was working. Everyone in there something to do. Everyone in there was in a daily grind, day after day after day.
You know, she made it really clear to me that when I hire people, I get out of the way, I let them do their work.
She was very much what I guess we would say a servant leader. She was there to back her coaches, to fight for them.
The biggest thing was we just sort of felt like we had her unconditional support.
You know, you look at the numbers and you look at the championships and you look at, you know, the hires, you look at all those types of things. But I think it's way beyond that. I think it's just how she touched people, how she touched student athletes, how much she cared about the University of Georgia, the women's athletic department, each student athlete, each coach. I just think, you know, her loving relationship with all of them is really her greatest legacy.
I mean, it is a living legacy, and it's too bad she's not still alive to really be able to feel the magic that she created.
And those kind of standards is what Liz believed in and what I believed in. And I think that her legacy will be that. Great coaches, great people that love the University of Georgia.
It took a while to get up here. We started out around 1959. Then we took a hard left in East Africa. A right at Baja. A 180 in the empty quarter. And that 65-degree incline at Hell's Revenge. But we didn't do all that just to get here. We did it to give you a truck that'll take you anywhere. This is the new Nissan.
With DirecTV, I can get live TV and on demand together. Football, housewives. Football, housewives. Football, housewives.
Whoops. Oh, no. The housewives are on the field. I repeat, the housewives are on the field.
I just want to talk!
Who flips the table?
Get your TV together. Call 1-800-DIRECTV to save up to $120.
And welcome back. Halftime. Georgia on top of Coastal Carolina, 40-24 here in the season opener for the Lady Bulldogs. And Matt Stewart joined by Anne-Marie Armstrong. And Georgia outscored Coastal 20-8 in that second quarter and held the Chanticleers to 2 for 16 shooting.
Yeah, Georgia had some great defense there in the second quarter, really held them to very low shooting percentage, and here we are now with the score being 40-24.
Let's take a look at the first half highlights. Javin Nicholson had a really strong first half, nearly a double-double.
Great pivot, great move, great finish down low. Again, you see her getting the ball from her teammate, Brittany Smith, on a great high-low. Just great, I mean, great working together, great team effort.
Yeah, Brittany Smith showed a really nice mid-range game as well in that first half.
I mean, she has a great turnaround, keeps the ball high. With her length, that's a hard move to guard.
Barney kept them in the game, hit a three-pointer, had 7 points in 13 minutes of work.
Great energy. You see her taking it to the basket, scoring into the clock, hitting some threes, and here we back are with Javin Nichols.
Yeah, Javin Nicholson, 8 points, 7 rebounds, 18 minutes of work. Warren hit the 1 3-pointer for Georgia in that first half and was 1 for 4 behind the three-point line herself. As you take a look at the halftime stats, Georgia's starting to open up that rebounding edge a little bit. 8-point advantage, total rebounds, 3-point advantage in offensive rebounds.
Yep, and Javin Nichols leading the Bulldogs with 8 rebounds currently. You also see the turnovers right now. Both teams are playing aggressive man defense, or excuse me, aggressive zone defense. They're there on the catch. 10 turnovers for each team thus far in the first half.
Another thing that jumps out at me, Anne-Marie, is the free throw shooting disparity. Georgia had 12 more free throw attempts than Coastal in that first half. Probably really indicative of the way Georgia has attacked the basket and tried to score inside.
And Diamond Battles has been to the line 7 times already. 18 total free throws for the team. Got to get to the line. If Coastal needs to do a little better job getting to the line as well to make up for that deficiency there.
So this is the coaching debut for both of these head coaches. If you're head coach Abe for Georgia, what's your take on that first half?
I think they did a good job. I think first quarter it was a little slower start, but second quarter they came out. Defense is the main thing that I've heard Coach Abe preach. Intensity, ball pressure. I saw a lot more of that in the second quarter.
And how about for Coach Pedersen in his first half of the Chanticleers?
I mean, they came out ready to compete. I think they did a great job. They weren't afraid. You've seen that they're hanging around. Even though they didn't shoot well in the second quarter, they're still fiery on defense. They're pressuring the ball, slowing Georgia down, getting into their half court.
So here we go, start of the third quarter. Georgia on top 40-24. This is the first game of a 4-game homestand for the Lady Bulldogs to begin the season. Georgia played 4 mid-majors here to begin the year, and a good chance for Georgia to kind of get a feel for what they have as a team with 10 newcomers mixing in with the 5 returning players. So among the returning players for Georgia, all of them were on the floor in the first half. Nicholson played 18 minutes. Chapman played 14 minutes. Zoisha Smith played 6 minutes. Bates played 4 minutes. And Zoisha Smith, or pardon me, Isaacs, who's the one at Isaacs played 9 minutes. I'm trying to figure out who I left out in that equation. And the only freshman to play for Georgia in that first half was Savannah Henderson, who played 6 minutes. So Georgia starts on offense to begin the second half. Warren comes out firing and misses. Hasn't been able to find her range yet. She's missed 5 of 6 3-point attempts. That will be an offensive foul on Freeman.
Great job of Diamond Battles getting position there on that drive.
Freeman picks up her 3rd personal foul. You want to be aggressive in that situation, but you also need to be under control. Underneath, Battles missed up close after the ball came right to her and missed again. I think she was kind of surprised to be gifted the basketball underneath the hoop like that. Barney, nice touch by Barney. She's been a nice pick-me-up.
I was gonna say she's brought some great energy to the game thus far. 9 points.
Yep, one of the transfers for the Chanticleers. Brittany Smith, the turnaround. Warren, the offensive rebound. Warren! 13 offensive rebounds for Georgia. The step through.
There's the scoop again.
Yep, Angie Just Jean with the miss, but got fouled. She'll go to the line. Mallory Bates back in the game for Georgia.
Angie Justine will go to the line for Coastal Carolina.
Angie Just Jean is from Montreal, Canada. Played at Winston-Salem Christian before signing with Coastal Carolina. Scoreless in 4 minutes of work in the first half. Just Jean averaged 8 points, 4 rebounds a game a year ago and had 3 double-doubles, including a 25 and 11 performance against Georgia Southern. Connects on both of the free throws. And that gets Coastal back to within 14.
Coastal back in a man defense coming out of that zone.
And the ball stolen by Freeman. Blunt will take the 3 and can it. Asia Blunt from outside. Timeout called by Coach Abe. Great start for Coastal Carolina as they've outscored the Lady Bulldogs 7-2 to begin the third. 42-31 early in the third. Blunt knocks down the 3.
Took a while to get up here. We started out around 1959. Then we took a hard left in East Africa. A right at Baja. A 180 in the empty quarter. And that 65-degree incline at Hell's Revenge. But we didn't do all that just to get here. We did it to give you a truck that'll take you anywhere. This is the new Nissan.
Doug. It's nice to unwind after a long week of telling people how Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. Showtime. Woo! I'm on fire tonight. Yes! Limu, you're a natural. We're not counting that. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Big shoes for the Lady Bulldogs to fill this season with the loss of super seniors Q Morrison and Jenna Stady.
2 great players graduated from Georgia last year. Both of these females are continuing their career professionally. Q Morrison in Italy and Jenna Stady just signed to be playing in Spain.
Great opportunities for those 2. You also played overseas as well, right?
Yes, I did have a great few years until those knees.
Well, we're glad to have you on this side of the table now.
Super excited to be here, Matt. Thanks so much.
Smith steps out.
Beautiful mid-range.
Yeah, she's really been flawless from that range the entire day. Brittany Smith now with 9 points.
Wow, what a block from Mallory Bates.
Bates, who was top 10 in blocking shots in the SEC and kind of limited action last year. You imagine what she could do if she played more minutes. Missed the turnaround right there, and Blunt the rebound for Coastal. 5 boards to go with Blunt's 7 points here in the first half. Trying to get the ball to Blunt. She gets fouled by Bates from behind. So Bates picks up her 3rd personal foul. Javin Nicholson will report for her.
Foul directed toward Georgia's Chloe Chapman.
So waiting to allow Zoisha Smith and Javin Nicholson to come into the game, which they do. So Georgia goes a little bit bigger with this lineman as Zoisha Smith comes in for Chloe Chapman. Lost out of bounds by Coastal. So Georgia's basketball. 13-point lead for the Lady Bulldogs. Coastal's come out with some good energy here in this 3rd quarter, despite that turnover right there. High-low action, they go inside. Nicholson left it short, got her own miss, and missed it for a 2nd time as well. Trailing on the play, Barney passed up the 3. And stolen away by Chapman, ends up in Nicholson's hands. And an errant pass stolen by Newsom and blocked out of bounds by Nicholson. Great recovery by Nicholson right there, not to give up on the play.
Yep, Nicholson was there, ready, elevates. Not today.
Barney, a long 3-pointer off the mark. Chapman rebound for Georgia. Run out opportunity. Bounce back pass and a collision as Zoisha Smith ends up on the deck along with Aaron Freeman.
A lot of bodies hit the floor on that one.
Looks like everybody's going to be okay. You kind of held your breath there for a moment. That was pretty violent. So Blunt comes off the floor. 7 points, 5 rebounds, and 18 minutes of work. If you're a Chanticleers fan wondering, why is Asia Blunt in uniform here? Well, back in the program, just got cleared today. She's been practicing with the team since transferring back from Tulane, where she had transferred to after the coaching change. Brittany Smith fouled on the shot attempt. She'll go to the line.
Another good read there by Brittany Smith going up. Gets hit on the arm, going to the line for 2 free throws.
First team foul on Barney, 3rd team foul on Coastal. And Brittany Smith at the line. She's 1 for 1 at the stripe today. That gives her double figures, the 2nd Lady Bulldog to hit double figures tonight, joining her former UCF teammate Diamond Battles. She was the 2nd leading scorer for the Knights a year ago. Zoisha Smith got in there and stole the rebound away. And then a foul's going to be called on Coastal. It's going to go against Amaya Adams. And that'll be the 3rd on her and the 4th team foul on Coastal in the quarter.
I believe that's her 3rd offensive rebound. Zoisha's really been in strong on the boards on the offensive end this evening.
2 points, 4 rebounds. Battles will inbounds. Comes into Smith. She drops it off for Zoisha Smith, who missed. And the rebound is controlled by Belinga. Just Jean missed. Foul's going to be called on Georgia. Brittany Smith picks up her 3rd personal foul, and that'll be the 3rd team foul on Georgia. Savannah Henderson checks back in the game, and Audrey Warren will come off the floor. And Jordan Isaacs reporting for Georgia. And Brittany Smith will come off the floor. Angie Just Jean 2 for 2 at the foul line tonight. Coastal 7 for 8 at the foul line collectively. Having to shoot in front of the student section in this half. Got the second of the 2. Nicholson passes out to Henderson. Henderson misses the 3. Offensive rebound. Smith goes back up, was fouled on the shot. Zoisha Smith will go to the foul line.
That's her 2nd. Coastal Carolina's 5th. Zoisha Smith will go to the line for the Lady Dogs.
There's been no field goals for either team over the last 2:41. And Coastal's now gone over 3 minutes without a field goal make.
And Zoisha Smith getting another offensive rebound.
Free throw shooting has not been one of her strong suits, however, Anne-Marie. 47% at the foul line a year ago. Makes 1 of 2. Georgia's lead is 14. And a blocking foul going to be called on Georgia. Diamond Battles called for that blocking foul, her first personal.
Gets off the ground.
Yeah, kind of slid into her as she was starting to make her move.
A little bit under her, didn't give enough space there.
Henderson with the steal. Gets it back, thought about a 3. Under 5 to play in the quarter. Georgia up by 14. Nicholson, turnaround, sweet touch. She's got double figures, 10 points and 8 rebounds now for Javin Nicholson in 22 minutes of work. Just Jean, 3-pointer. 3rd 3-pointer for Coastal Carolina tonight. We've had only 4 total. Georgia's 1 for 8. Stolen away by Belinga. Run out opportunity for Coastal. Just Jean tried to step through and missed, and then Ricarte had it bounce off her fingers. And a timeout on the floor with 4:05 to play in the 3rd quarter. Georgia outscored by Coastal in the quarter, 11-8.
Took a while to get up here. We started out around 1959. Then we took a hard left in East Africa. A right at Baja. A 180 in the empty quarter. And that 65-degree incline at Hell's Revenge. But we didn't do all that just to get here. We did it to give you a truck that'll take you anywhere. This is the new Nissan.
This is insane.
In 3 days, experience the year's most deliciously twisted thriller.
We're gonna die today. Yeah. Get out of my way.
It's all part of the menu. The Menu. Rated R. Only in theaters Friday.
Back in Athens, Georgia up 48-35. Georgia's hit only 3 shots in the quarter, but Javin Nicholson still having a strong night with 10.
Beautiful turnaround jumper by Javin from the guard pass, and coming down the other end, we have Just Jean hitting a big 3-point shot.
Yeah, they've hit 2 3-pointers in the quarter. They've actually outscored Georgia in the first 5+ minutes of this quarter, 11-8.
Coming out of the locker room, it looks like they have a little more energy and ready to get back in the game.
See, Georgia's got 3 players in double figures, Battles, Nicholson, and Brittany Smith, all with 10 points combined. They are 10 for 22, but Georgia's gotten only 18 points from the other 6 players who have played tonight. Battles, 3-ball, nailed it. Second 3-pointer for the Lady Bulldogs tonight. The first for Battles. She has 13. And foul's going to be called on Henderson. She was thinking about going after that pass and ended up getting tangled up with Ricarte.
And with the baseline cut, Diamond Battles coming down the baseline. Overload in the corner, hits a 3.
I thought that was really good ball movement to get her loose in the corner like that.
And a great read. I mean, overall, just seeing the open corner and being able to hit her and her knock down the jumper.
Ricarte at the line after the foul was called on Henderson. Georgia now with 5 team fouls, so Coastal Carolina shooting the bonus here. Ricarte missed them both. Chance now 8 for 12 shooting the free throw tonight. Nicholson turns around to face the basket. Nice touch. That's the second time she's hit that shot.
On that left short corner turnaround jumper. Really nice stroke.
Yeah, not an easy shot either. Just Jean misses the 3. Delarue gets inside and gets the rebound, blocked by Nicholson, and up and in. How about Barney in there amongst the taller players, was able to put it high off the glass. Isaacs with the bank in.
The bank is open.
An 18-point lead for Georgia. Ricarte hits the 3-pointer. That's 4 3-pointers for the Chanticleers, 3 of them coming here in the third quarter.
Great skip pass there in the zone. Defense not able to be there in time.
Drop off, great feed by Battles to give Isaacs the easy bucket. .13 assists for the Lady Dogs tonight on 20 made baskets. Just Jean with the step through. Look of exasperation on Coach Abe's face.
She's brought a lot of energy in this third quarter. Just Jean.
She has 8 points in 9 minutes of work. Henderson in the corner. There's a nice stroke from the freshman Savannah Henderson. Second 3-pointer in the quarter for the Lady Dogs.
Great look from Javin Nicholson. Great selflessness there, looking for her guard in the corner wide open for that 3-point shot. Battles great penetration, gets the post to come in and help wide open.
Then Henderson knocks down the three after the great feed by Nicholson. Some nice passing work by the Lady Dogs. 18-point lead for Georgia. Just Jean again, a kick out this time. And we have a foul, a traveling call on Delarue. Georgia scored 20 points in each of the 3 quarters. 20-16 advantage in the first, 20-8 advantage in the second, and a 20-18 advantage here in the third. 60-42, Lady Dogs on top by 18. Warren the drive and fouled by Coastal. Richardson's going to be called for this one.
Nice catch and rip through there for Warren, going to the basket.
That'll be the 3rd foul on Richardson. So Warren goes to the line. Her debut for the Georgia Lady Bulldogs after playing for the Texas Longhorns. 7 points, 4 rebounds in 20 minutes of work. Georgia now with 8 misses at the free throw line tonight, 65% from the stripe. Bates back in, Isaacs comes out. Ricarte comes in for Coastal, and Barney goes out. Barney, their leading scorer, with 11 points in 22 minutes, but she has committed 7 turnovers as well. Just Jean missed it, and the rebound by Brittany Smith. Ahead it comes to Henderson, running the floor well. Bates gets the feed from Henderson, a collision. Let's see who they're going to call this foul on. Richardson picks up her 4th personal. So Richardson and Freeman both with 4 personal fouls.
Great look and great awareness by Savannah Henderson there in transition, setting up Mallory Bates.
Coach Abe joked when we talked about her career at Georgia that, you know, when she came to Georgia as a hotshot high school basketball player, she quickly learned that her role was going to be pass the ball to Katrina McLean and Teresa Edwards.
Well, yeah, she played for a great Georgia team, and she told me the same thing, and I said, well, I would have been doing the exact same thing as well. Same with me. I was definitely a passer when I was playing here, looking for some of my buddies, Jasmine James, Jasmine Hassel, Kalita Miller.
Blunt misses with 15 seconds to play in the quarter. Offensive rebound by Freeman draws the foul. She'll go to the line.
Just effort from Freeman there. Relentless to get to the ball. Probably one of the smaller guards out there on the court right now, but just relentless getting to that ball and getting the shot up.
I'm guessing somewhere here in the Coliseum, Coach Andy Landers is sitting incognito with a hat pulled down over his eyes. He likes to keep a low profile, but Coach Abe told us that her conversations with Coach Landers since she became the head coach have been about everything but basketball. No basketball conversations.
And you know, Coach Landers is just such a great person off the court. And one thing that she said about him is he just making sure I'm okay. How are you? How are you doing? And she just said what a blessing it is that he's still around. He's not completely hands-on, but when she needs him, he's around to have a conversation or offer his advice about how things go at Georgia.
Yeah, Coach Landers was definitely not the one who sought the spotlight. In fact, when he retired, he just dropped it on everybody at the end of the season. Wanted no retirement tour or anything like that. Brittany Smith with 3 on the clock. Bates got the rebound. She gets fouled. And with 1.3, Mallory Bates will go to the foul line.
Foul directed toward Coastal Carolina, Angie Just Jean. That's her third. Mallory Bates to the line for the Lady Dogs.
Coach Abe takes over a program that's been to 35 of the 40 all-time NCAA tournaments. But it's been a while since they've had an SEC championship, not since 2000, a regular season. Not since 2001, the SEC Tournament Championship. Final seconds of the third quarter roll on out, and that is the end of the period. Georgia bounces back, outscores Coastal 24-19 in the third, leads at 64-43 as we head to the fourth.
Took a while to get up here. We started out around 1959. Then we took a hard left in East Africa. A right at Baja. A 180 in the empty quarter. And that 65-degree incline at Hell's Revenge. But we didn't do all that just to get here. We did it to give you a truck that'll take you anywhere. This is the new Nissan.
With DirecTV, I can get live TV and on demand together. Football, housewives. Football, housewives. Football, housewives.
Whoops.
Oh, no.
The housewives are on the field. I repeat, the housewives are on the field.
I just want to talk!
Who flips the table?
Get your TV together. Call 1-800-DIRECTV to save up to $120.
Solid night for Javin Nicholson. She's a plus 23 with her on the floor, the Lady Bulldogs.
Having a great night this evening. 8 rebounds, 10 points, finessing around the rim, rebounding, pivoting, scoring over a post player. Doing a great job finishing, keeping the ball high, finishing with her left hand underneath.
5 of 9 shooting, 12 points, 8 rebounds, close to a double-double. It would be her third, or make that 5th career double-double. She had 2 last year, 4 for her career. Also had a couple of blocks in that third quarter as well.
Something that's really interesting to me about Javin Nicholson is she was one of the first freshmen since Tasha Humphrey to record back-to-back double-doubles, which just speaks to her ability as a post player.
She'll be on the bench for the start of the fourth quarter. Coach Abe has played 9 here on opening night, and Coastal has played 11. Just Jean rolled off the back of the rim, and the rebound controlled by Zoisha Smith. Chapman races up the floor for Georgia. High-low goes inside to Bates with the move to the left and missed up close. Smith got knocked to the deck. Just Jean got the rebound. She's been a bright spot for them here in the second half. Barney nailed the three-pointer. Second one for her, 5th for Coastal.
That gives her 14 points on the game.
Northern Iowa transfer, leading scorer for the Chanticleers tonight. Brittany Smith missed off back iron. Rebound controlled by Coastal. Stolen away. Adams trying to go through the lane, got pickpocketed by Chapman. Back to Smith and the layup. A 20-point lead. Blunt rolled off the front iron. Bates turns around, got the bounce. Second bucket for Bates. She has 7 points. Back the other way, and Just Jean. And a timeout called by Georgia. Just Jean with her bucket now in double figures. She has 11. Barney and Just Jean have combined for 25 of Coastal's 49.
Took a while to get up here. We started out around 1959. Then we took a hard left in East Africa. A right at Baja. A 180 in the empty quarter. And that 65-degree incline at Hell's Revenge. But we didn't do all that just to get here. We did it to give you a truck that'll take you anywhere. This is the new Nissan.
With DirecTV, I can get live TV and on demand together. Football, housewives. Football, housewives. Football, housewives.
Whoops. Oh, no. The housewives are on the field. I repeat, the housewives are on the field.
I just want to talk!
Who flips the table?
Get your TV together. Call 1-800-DIRECTV to save up to $120.
We got more basketball for you tonight. Men's half of the doubleheader coming up about 30 to 40 minutes following the conclusion of this one as they debut the Mike White era of the Georgia men's basketball program, the new head coach, as they play host to Western Carolina. So a lot of new stuff tonight.
New era for all the teams. I'm not sure about the men's Coastal Carolina, but we have 3 new coaches throughout men's basketball, Georgia women's, as well as Coastal Carolina women's.
You see the story of the score, Just Jean with a strong third quarter, 11 points, 3 Georgia players now in double figures. The Lady Bulldogs have taken twice as many free throw attempts. And Georgia scored nearly 10 points more than Coastal off of turnovers. The Western Carolina Catamounts will be next up. They'll be playing the men roughly about 8:30, 8:40. They'll get that started, and Jeff Dantzler will call the play-by-play, and former Bulldog Marcus Thornton will join him at the table. Just Jean has been the player of the second half for Coastal. Balinga turnaround, rebound, Brittany Smith. Anne-Marie, your thoughts on Diamond Battles here in her debut with Georgia tonight?
I mean, Battles has been really, really aggressive on the defensive end. A lot of hands, a lot of intensity from the Defensive Player of the Year from the American. I mean, getting to the basket, shooting threes. I don't know if she's hit a 3 tonight, but she's definitely shooting them, getting some jumpers, finding her teammates. Just a really great all-around player, bringing a lot of energy in her first game with Georgia.
Does have 1 3 tonight, 13 total points. Couple of rebounds, couple of assists, but very active on the defensive end too. Just Jean, that big step through, left it a little bit short this time. And Richardson stepped on the sideline. Georgia up 19, 6.5 to play. Quick hands, and Just Jean forces the turnover, deflected it, and then Warren couldn't hold on to it.
Strong defensive effort right there by Coastal. Everyone was up the line denying. Georgia's having a tough time rotating the ball.
Just Jean tonight, her first steal. 11 points, 3 of 8 shooting, 2 of 3 on her threes. Returning sophomore for Coastal Carolina, one of the few returning players. And that's Richardson in the corner knocking down the 3. 7 3-pointers now for Coastal in the game.
Coastal continuing to show life throughout this game.
Nicholson, again, that turnaround. That's the 3rd time she has buried that shot.
3 for 3 on the short corner turnaround for Javin Nicholson.
Impressive. Nicholson now has 14 Back the other way, Coastal answers.
Barney another.
Yep, she's got 16 now to go along with 4 rebounds. Five to play, Georgia up by 16. Battles. Barney the rebound. To the corner and just Jean airballed it. Smith the rebound. 5 boards for Brittany Smith now to go along with her 10 points. Nicholson, body fall, no call. Richardson tried to buy a foul right there, and the officials didn't take it.
Javin Nichols with 4 assists. At least 3 of them to Brittany Smith.
Yeah, just a really strong first game effort for Javin Nicholson. Barney traveled. That'll be the 18th turnover on the Chanticleers tonight. Kevin Pedersen started his career at Anderson University in South Carolina, actually as a men's assistant coach, became the women's assistant coach, led them, or head coach, led them to 88 wins in 4 years before going on to a stellar career at Lander University. NCAA Division II school, Zoisha Smith with the scoop and lay-in. 7 points for Smith. Blunt, defense by Nicholson. Smith left it short, Blunt the rebound. 6 boards for her. Blunt backing in against Nicholson, tried to drop step. Richardson misses the jumper and tipped out of bounds by Freeman. And Damari Flournoy is going to check in for the first time for Georgia. She's a Georgia player from Villa Rica Carrollton High School. Actually started her career, however, at Vanderbilt as an ESPN Top 100 prospect.
Few of her career highs thus far when she was at Vanderbilt. She had 17 points versus Chattanooga and played 24 minutes versus Tennessee last season with the Vanderbilt Commodores.
So Flournoy making her Georgia debut here tonight. And offensive foul is going to be called on Battles. Second personal on her. So Chapman comes in, Battles goes out.
Defender just outside the boundary there, good position, charge.
Freeman tried to get through traffic. Flournoy comes up with it. Got her man up in the air, and the foul's going to be called on Barney. So Flournoy gets her first chance to get in the scoring column here. She goes to the foul line, 2 shots. Foul on Barney was her 3rd. So Flournoy now officially has scored for Georgia. 5'7" sophomore guard. And Smith comes away with it. Stolen away by Blunt, however. Long 3-point attempt by Newsom. Blunt had a rebound, got it, scoops it up and in with an unorthodox shot. 9 for her. Foul's going to be called on Smith. Smith got agitated with Richardson and just punched her out of the way.
Not the best place to do that with the ref looking right at you with the ball next to you, but.
So Nicholson will come off the floor. He'll rebound shy of a double-double. The foul on Smith was her 4th, and it's the 3rd team foul on Georgia.
Very impressive stat line from Javin this evening.
Inside to Blunt. Blunt spin move and got the roll. She's in double figures. Asia Blunt now with 11 and 7 rebounds. So coming up for Georgia next in action on Thursday night, when the Lady Bulldogs will host Alabama State, and then they'll complete their 4-game homestand with Jacksonville State and Kennesaw State before going on the road to play at Georgia Tech. Next 3 games on SEC Network Plus. Flournoy fouled by Newsom. Newsom picks up her first personal. Here's a look at the schedule for Coastal. And Kentucky is next on Sunday. That's an SEC Network Plus at Wofford, Coker, at Wake, and then South Carolina State to round out the month of November. Coach Pedersen definitely beefing up the schedule. They had not played any Power 5 opponents in the previous 2 seasons. They've got 4 on the docket here this year. Of course, 3 of them in the month of November. And foul called on Bates. That'll be the 4th on her. Coach Katie Abrahamson Henderson. Coach Abe, as she goes by, 4-time conference coach of the year. Led the UCF Knights to their best season ever, a number 7 seed in the NCAA tournament. AAC regular season championship and a tournament championship as well, as Blunt scores underneath.
Great read by Blunt, great pump fake there. Went up for the wide open layup after getting Zoisha Smith off of her feet.
Final minute. Chapman whistle's gonna negate the shot. Foul's gonna be called on Isaacs underneath, and that'll be number 4 on her. Oh, they reversed the call. The call's against Coastal. Jordan Isaacs thought it was against her. It goes against Richardson, and she fouls out with 3 points on the night. So Georgia gets the inbounds with 46 seconds left in the game. They're going to win their opener. Georgia will improve to 41-9 all-time in season openers here in season number 50 of Georgia Lady Bulldogs basketball. Just Jean step through and will go to the foul line to shoot 2 free throws. So Mallory Bates is going to foul out too. That's number 5 on her. Mallory Bates will finish with 7 points, 5 rebounds, and 11 minutes of work. Just Jean at the foul line. Student section still going strong. They've got another game to cheer for, too. Georgia men opening up their season against Western Carolina. That'll be about 30 minutes after the conclusion of this one, which is coming shortly. Newsom, 10 on the clock to shoot. Freeman, 5 on the clock to shoot. Inside they go to Blunt, and turnover. Run out for Chapman. And Chloe Chapman got tied up, lost the shot. Forced play. And Flournoy. That'll do it. Georgia 78-61 winner. The Coach Abe era opens with a victory. Georgia wins by 17. Double-figure performances from Javin Nicholson, who goes for 14 with 9 rebounds. Battles finished with 13, 6 of 7 from the line. And Brittany Smith, 12 points and 6 rebounds.
Zoisha Smith, 9.6 rebounds. Great debut for her. I think that those might be some of her best numbers thus far.
Georgia opens Coach Abrahamson Henderson's career with a victory. So a go Dogs from Coach Abe to finish off the night. Coastal Carolina, they dropped to 0-1 under their new head coach, Kevin Peterson. But I think Chanticleer's fans are going to be happy with what they saw from Coastal in their first game under their new head coach. Georgia wins it 78-61. Western Carolina and Georgia men coming up in about half an hour. Now for Anne-Marie Armstrong, our entire SEC Network team, I'm Matt Stewart. Good night from Athens, where the Lady Bulldogs win.